Forest trails might be a nice place to do some morning jogging or hiking, but if you start wandering off the beaten path, you never know what you might just encounter. From wild animals and poisonous plants to abandoned cabins or even ghosts that might be lurking behind the trees. Yes, I do believe in the supernatural. Fight me. The woods hold a lot of scary mysteries just waiting to be unraveled. If you're still not convinced, here's something that might change your mind. Today, we're rounding up the 9 strangest things found in the forest. What's up, Facnatics? This is Discovery Amuse, serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Stay tuned because our number 1 pick is not one to mess with. Don't say we didn't warn you. Ready to venture into the woods? Number 9. Incest family. Families who have chosen to live off the grid are not unheard of. But this clan, who decided to isolate themselves from the rest of the world, holds a particularly dark secret that might just haunt you in your sleep. In 2012, Australian authorities were shell-shocked when they found out about the Colt family, a New Zealand clan of 40 living in a camp on the outskirts of Buroa in New South Wales. Aside from the filthy living conditions that didn't have access to running water or even a toilet, some of the children were found to have deformities and couldn't speak proper English. It turns out that most of the kids were the product of incestuous relationships within the clan that have gone undetected for decades. A dozen of the children found in the commune-style property were immediately placed into state care, and some of the adults were charged with incest and perjury. In 2020, 2 years after being arrested, Frank Colt was finally convicted of raping his 17-year-old relative. If you think nothing could possibly top this strange family, then you've got another thing coming. So keep watching till our number 1. Number 8. Gigantic stone ball. Remember that giant boulder from Raiders of the Lost Ark? Well, who would have thought a real-life Indiana Jones would discover one himself? In 2016, archaeologist Samir Osmanagic, dubbed as the Bosnian Indiana Jones, unearthed an enormous spherical stone in the middle of the forest in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which measures a whopping 5 feet in diameter. According to Samir, the red and brown color suggests that the stone ball has a high content of iron. The archaeologist is quick to claim that the iron-rich stone could be the oldest man-made stone sphere in the world. He believes that it is proof that an advanced lost civilization existed more than 1,500 years ago. However, geologists theorize that these stones were not man-made, but rather might actually be the result of a natural process called concretion, where small mineral particles glue together over millions of years. Number 7. Australian Chupacabra? In parts of the Americas, myths about the Chupacabra, a mystical monster that is said to drink the blood of livestock, continues to persist. While there haven't been any concrete sightings of the mythical beast as of yet, this mummified corpse found in a forest in Australia certainly fueled the flames even further.
Oh my God!
In 2014, a Reddit user named Nature is Metal posted this photo, which was taken by a friend during a hike. The creature certainly looks eerily bizarre, and some speculated it was the remains of a chupacabra. However, experts analyzed the picture and concluded that it's most likely a mummified koala based on its skull shape, teeth, double thumbs, and claws. Number 6. Petrified dog! Visitors of the Southern Forest World in Waycross, Georgia, flock the museum not so much to learn about the history of the forestry industry, but to get a glimpse of a mummy! Wow. A mummified hound dog, to be exact, which got stuck inside a hollow tree and which the museum staff has lovingly named Stucky.
He's a 4-year-old hound dog, and they found him near the Georgia-Alabama line. We got him in like 78.
What's surprising is that the carcass was found 28 feet up inside the hollow trunk. According to some experts, the canine may have been chasing a squirrel at that time and followed it into the tree. It was able to wedge itself inside the trunk, but wasn't able to get out. But how was it mummified in the first place? The museum staff believe it was because of the hollow tree's chimney effect. The upward draft carried away the carcass scent, which would have attracted organisms that would lead to its decay. And then the dog's skin was eventually hardened by the oak tree's natural acid.
And the bugs couldn't smell, people couldn't smell.
Nope.
Because it was trapped within here.
And already on the log truck, ready to go to the mill.
Number 5. Spy in the Sky. Back in 1962, a man named David McPherson Sr. spied with his little eye a huge white box in a forest outside Moncton, New Brunswick in Canada. He found the mystery box particularly odd because it had what seemed like large lenses and was attached to a parachute.
Curious. Very curious.
McPherson initially thought the box was used as a spy camera by the Americans. His suspicions grew even more when the Canadian military tried to get a hold of the thing. He eventually gave it up to the authorities without ever knowing what it really was until he passed away in 2016. 55 years after the discovery of the mysterious white box, his son, David Jr., finally uncovered the truth. With the help of CBC News, David learned that the quote-unquote thing in the woods was actually part of Project Genetrix, a government program that conducted surveillance operations on Russia and China using aerial apparatuses. Number 4. Island of the Dolls. This place is a dark tourist dream come true. But for the rest of us, getting stuck in this deserted little island in Mexico might be our worst nightmare. Just look at all those creepy looking dolls staring back at you. In the mid-20th century, a man named Don Julian Santana Barrera sequestered himself on this island in Xochimilco, where he discovered the body of a dead girl that drowned in the lake. Believing that the spirit of the girl would often look for her doll, Barrera littered the island with dolls to appease the lost soul.
In Mexican culture, there are a lot of legends about dolls. People believe that they can trap evil spirits and stop them from harming anyone.
In 2001, Don Julian passed away and his remains were found in the lake at the exact same spot where he claimed he saw the drowned girl. Since then, tourists have flocked the place, attaching their own dolls to add to the late Don's macabre collection.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Number 3. Britain's Roswell. Out of all the alleged UFO sightings throughout the years, one of the most enduring stories is the one that supposedly happened in Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk, England. At around 3 a.m. on December 26, 1980, a couple of U.S. servicemen who were patrolling the perimeter of their Rendlesham camp allegedly saw some strange lights that were descending down into the forest. Upon investigating the site, they saw something that they described as a metallic object glowing in multicolored lights. According to the report submitted by Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, the unidentified object suddenly moved through the trees and over a nearby farm when they tried to approach it. One of them even claimed he got to touch the UFO himself. But when the U.S. military probed the site, the only thing they saw were lights from the Orford Ness Lighthouse a few miles away. However, because of the number of credible witnesses who attest to the incident, the incredible legend remains very much alive to this day. Number 2. Breathing Earth. If we ever see Mother Nature breathing like a human being, it would probably look something like this. This video, taken in October 2018 at a forest in Quebec, Canada, shows a phenomenon you'd only see in supernatural movies. As if inhaling and exhaling, the ground heaves up and down like the lungs of a giant underground monster. But before you go looking for Groot among the trees in this forest, Researchers explain that breathing earth phenomenon is actually caused by strong winds that are moving the trees, and because the roots might have loosened their grip on the soil over time, they move along with the tree trunks, essentially lifting the forest floor with them.
Perfectly splendid.
In short, there are no giants walking around nor any mystical forest spirits to be found here. Before we go to our number one pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app settings. Number 1. Isolated Tribe. Try stepping into this remote island and you might just meet your untimely death even before you reach the shore. In an island in the Bay of Bengal in India called the North Sentinel Island, you'll find an entire tribe of indigenous people infamous for refusing to interact with anyone outside their community. Not only that, they are notorious for attacking and killing anyone who dare encroach their territory. In fact, in 2018, an American missionary named John Chow, who tried to convert the Sentinelese to Christianity, was killed by the extremely isolated tribe.
He wanted to share the love of God with them. That was his whole mission.
The Sentinelese are so hostile that India's government has prohibited anyone from getting near the island. Armed patrolmen are also on standby off the coast of the island just to prevent gutsy, hard-headed intruders who insist on trespassing. So, which of these bizarre forest finds baffled you the most? Tell us about it in the comments section down below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description. And while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Want to discover more incredible wonders hiding in the woods? Then don't miss our ranking of the 8 largest creatures found in the Amazon. Till then, stay eagle-eyed, Factnatics, and see you in the next video!